The gentle hum of a distant motor, a whisper of metal on metal, and the subtle scent of drying paint, these are the sensory echoes of a bygone era, a time when the automobile was not just a machine, but a canvas. Before the age of automated sprayers and laser-guided stencils, the automobile was adorned with a personal touch, a flourish of artistic expression that spoke of craftsmanship and individuality. This is the story of that meticulous art, the quiet dedication of hand-painted automobile pinstriping in early 20th century American manufacturing. To truly understand how this beautiful, intricate detail became an integral part of the automotive landscape, we must first delve into the nascent days of automobile production and the evolving aesthetic sensibilities that shaped its outward appearance. The dawn of the automobile, in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, was a period of immense innovation and rapid change. The horseless carriage, as it was often called, was a marvel of engineering, a testament to human ingenuity. Initially, these vehicles were largely utilitarian, designed for function rather than form. They were often boxy, rudimentary affairs, their bodies constructed from wood and metal, painted in solid, unadorned colors. The focus was on making them run, making them reliable, and making them accessible to a growing, albeit still select, public. However, as the technology matured and production methods became more refined, a new consideration began to emerge: aesthetics. Automobiles were no longer just for the adventurous inventor or the wealthy industrialist. They were slowly but surely entering the lives of a broader segment of society. And with this wider adoption came a desire for personalization, for distinction. People wanted their automobiles to reflect their status, their taste, and their personality. This desire dovetailed perfectly with the existing traditions of artistry and craftsmanship that were still very much alive in American society. Think of the ornate decorations on carriages, the intricate detailing on furniture, the hand-painted signs that adorned storefronts. These were all areas where skilled artisans applied their talents to elevate everyday objects. The automobile, as it became more prevalent, presented a new and exciting frontier for these artists. The concept of pinstriping, in its most basic form, is the application of a thin, decorative line. It's a technique that has been used for centuries, adorning everything from pottery to decorative objects. But in the automotive world, it evolved into something far more sophisticated. It wasn't just about a single line. It was about creating patterns, accents, and highlights that enhanced the form of the car, making it appear sleeker, more dynamic, or more elegant. In the early days, particularly during the nascent stages of the 20th century, automobile manufacturers were still experimenting with their production lines. Quality control was a developing concept, and while some factories were already implementing assembly line principles, the level of automation we see today was unimaginable. Many of the finishing touches, the details that truly made a car stand out, were still very much a manual endeavor. This is where the pinstriper entered the scene. These were skilled individuals, often with backgrounds in sign painting, carriage decoration, or even fine art. They possessed an extraordinary level of control over their tools and materials. Their primary instrument was a brush, but not just any brush. These were specialized brushes, meticulously crafted with long, flexible bristles, designed to produce a consistent, unbroken line. The quality of the brush was paramount. A good pinstriper would cherish their brushes, treating them with the utmost care to maintain their perfect shape and responsiveness. The paint itself was also a carefully chosen medium. High-quality enamel paints were the standard. These paints offered durability and a rich, lustrous finish. The colors themselves were often selected to complement the body color of the automobile. Sometimes, a contrasting color was used to create a bold statement, while other times, a more subtle shade was chosen to add depth and sophistication. The metallics were particularly popular, adding a shimmer that would catch the light and draw attention to the finely executed lines. The process of pinstriping a car was not a hasty one. It required immense patience and a steady hand. The car's body would have already undergone its primary painting and curing processes. Before the pinstriper could begin, the surface had to be meticulously prepared. Any imperfections, even microscopic ones, could mar the final result. The area to be striped would be cleaned and often lightly polished to ensure a smooth, uniform surface. The pinstriper would then meticulously lay out their design. This might be a predetermined pattern provided by the manufacturer, or it could be a custom design requested by the owner. The layout process itself was an art form. The pinstriper would use fine chalk lines or a very light pencil mark to guide their brush, ensuring that the lines were perfectly straight, evenly spaced, and followed the contours of the car's body with exquisite precision. The actual application of the paint was a testament to the artist's skill. The pinstriper would load their brush with a precise amount of paint, just enough to create a continuous line without being too thick or gloopy. Then, with a slow, deliberate motion, they would guide the brush along the chalk or pencil guide. The pressure applied to the brush would be just right, allowing the bristles to fan out slightly to create a consistent width of line. The speed at which the brush moved was also crucial, dictating the flow of the paint and the smoothness of the stroke. A single pinstriper might spend hours, even days, on a single vehicle, depending on the complexity of the design. Simple single-line accents might be relatively quick, but intricate patterns, multiple bands of color, or detailed scrollwork would demand significant time and concentration. They worked in well-lit studios, often with specialized lighting to ensure they could see every subtle variation in their work. The ambient temperature and humidity also played a role, affecting the drying time of the paint and the ease with which it could be applied. The results, however, were breathtaking. A well-executed pinstripe could dramatically change the perceived shape of a car. A thin, elegant line along the fender could make it appear longer and more sculpted. A series of stripes on the trunk could draw the eye and add a sense of dynamism. On the hood, pinstripes could accentuate the natural lines of the metal, giving it a more aggressive or refined look, depending on the design. Many early automobiles featured a two-tone paint scheme, and pinstripes were often used to create a crisp, clean separation between the two colors. This added a level of polish and sophistication that would be difficult to achieve with a simple, hard edge. The pinstripe acted as a subtle visual cue, a delicate boundary that enhanced the overall aesthetic. Beyond simple lines, pinstripers also created more elaborate designs. These could include delicate scrolls, floral motifs, or even stylized geometric patterns. These were particularly popular on higher-end vehicles or for owners who desired a truly unique and personalized automobile. This level of custom artistry placed the automobile in the realm of a mobile work of art. The context of early 20th century American manufacturing is also important. While mass production was gaining momentum, there was still a significant appreciation for handcrafted goods. Customers were accustomed to paying a premium for quality and artistry. The inclusion of hand-painted pinstripes was seen as a mark of distinction, a signal that the car was not just another factory-made product, but something special, something that had been given individual attention. Consider the emergence of companies that specialized in custom automotive paintwork. These were not just repair shops, they were studios where artists transformed ordinary vehicles into extraordinary ones. They developed their own signature styles, and their reputations were built on the quality and artistry of their pinstriping. The automotive industry itself was in a constant state of flux. Styles and trends changed rapidly. What was considered stylish one year might be outdated the next. Pinstriping, with its inherent adaptability, allowed manufacturers and customizers to keep pace with these evolving tastes. A new set of pinstripes could breathe new life into an older model, giving it a more contemporary feel. The economic landscape also played a role. During periods of prosperity, there was a greater demand for luxury and customization. Pinstriping became a visible indicator of wealth and taste. During more challenging economic times, the demand for such embellishments might have waned, but the underlying appreciation for the craft remained. The skills required for pinstriping were not easily acquired. It took years of practice to develop the necessary hand-eye coordination, brush control, and understanding of paint properties. Pinstripers were often trained through apprenticeships, learning from experienced masters. The transfer of knowledge was a slow, deliberate process, emphasizing precision and patience. The tools of the trade, though seemingly simple, were highly specialized. The brushes, as mentioned, were key. They came in various sizes and shapes, each designed for a specific purpose. The Badger hairbrushes were particularly prized for their softness and ability to hold a consistent amount of paint. For laying down very fine lines, brushes with a single, long bristle were employed. For broader stripes or more elaborate designs, wider, flatter brushes with more body were used. The paints themselves were also a subject of intense study. Pinstripers would experiment with different brands and formulations to find those that offered the best flow, adhesion, and durability. The additives used to create metallic effects, for instance, had to be carefully dispersed to achieve an even sparkle without clumping. The advent of new technologies in the automotive industry sometimes posed challenges. As cars became more streamlined, the surfaces for pinstriping changed. The introduction of rubber seals, chrome trim, and increasingly complex body contours required pinstripers to adapt their techniques and designs. Yet, they consistently found ways to integrate their art into these new forms. The pinstriper's workspace was a sanctuary of focus. Imagine a quiet studio, perhaps with the gentle scent of paint thinners and oil soaps in the air. The light would be ideal, often coming from large windows or strategically placed lamps. The car itself would be elevated on sturdy stands, allowing the artist comfortable access to all areas. The rhythm of their work was a slow, steady cadence. The dip of the brush into the paint, the careful wipe on the edge of the pot to remove excess, the deliberate placement of the bristles onto the surface, and the slow, controlled movement. Each stroke was a mindful act, a testament to the concentration and dedication of the artist. There was no room for error. A mistake often meant starting over, carefully removing the offending line with a solvent and redoing the entire section. The social aspect of this craft was also noteworthy. Pinstripers were often well-respected members of their communities, their skills highly valued. They might be found at car shows, demonstrating their techniques and interacting with enthusiasts. Their work was a visible representation of the pride and care that went into creating these early automobiles. The evolution of automobile design itself was a constant source of inspiration. The sweeping curves of the 1930s, the bold fins of the 1950s, the sleek lines of later decades. Each era presented new opportunities for pinstriping. Pinstripers would adapt their styles to complement these changing forms, sometimes emphasizing the existing lines, other times creating new visual narratives. The materials used for cleaning and preparing the surface were also important. Specialized waxes, polishes, and degreasers were employed to ensure a pristine canvas. The paint itself would often be allowed to cure for a period before pinstriping, ensuring it was hard and stable. The choice of colors was a nuanced decision. For a dark blue car, a thin silver or gold pinstripe might be used to add a touch of elegance. For a bright red vehicle, a black or cream stripe could provide a sophisticated contrast. The metallics, especially, became incredibly popular for their ability to catch the light and add a dynamic element. Aluminum, copper, and gold flakes were incorporated into the paint to achieve these shimmering effects. The application of clear coats was also an evolving aspect of the process. As automotive finishes became more durable, the pinstripes were often sealed under layers of protective clear coat, further embedding them into the car's finish and providing long-lasting protection. This ensured that the delicate lines would endure for years to come, a testament to the enduring quality of the craftsmanship. The economic climate of the early to mid-20th century saw fluctuations in the demand for luxury automotive features. During the Roaring Twenties, when prosperity was high and automotive ownership was rapidly expanding, pinstriping was a popular embellishment. The Great Depression saw a general decline in luxury spending, but the craft of pinstriping persisted, often in more understated forms or on surviving high-end vehicles. The post-war boom, however, brought a resurgence in demand for stylish and personalized automobiles, and pinstriping once again flourished. The relationship between the pinstriper and the automobile manufacturer was a complex one. In some cases, pinstriping was a factory-applied option, a standard offering on certain models or trim levels. In other instances, it was outsourced to specialized custom shops, which would then deliver the finished, striped vehicles back to the manufacturer or directly to dealerships. This flexibility allowed manufacturers to cater to a wide range of customer preferences and price points. The artistic evolution of pinstriping mirrored the broader trends in design. Early styles tended to be more formal and geometric, reflecting the Art Deco influences of the era. As automotive design became more fluid and aerodynamic, pinstriping evolved to incorporate more organic curves and flowing lines. The introduction of airbrushing techniques also influenced pinstriping, allowing for more intricate shading and blending effects to be incorporated into the designs. The very nature of hand painting meant that each pinstriped car was, in a sense, unique. Even when following a standard pattern, the subtle variations inherent in a hand-applied line gave each vehicle a distinct character. This individuality was highly prized by collectors and enthusiasts who saw it as a mark of authenticity and artisanal skill. The long-term preservation of these hand-painted details also speaks to the quality of the materials and the skill of the artists. Many automobiles, from the early to mid-20th century, that have been well maintained, still bear their original pinstripes, faded perhaps by time and exposure, but still visible, a testament to the enduring nature of the craft. The meticulous attention to detail extended not only to the application of the paint, but also to the choice of materials that would best withstand the elements. The story of hand-painted pinstriping is also a story of tactile experience. Imagine running your finger along the smooth, cool metal of a car's body and feeling the subtle raised edge of a perfectly applied stripe. It's a physical connection to the craftsmanship, a tangible reminder of the human hand that brought this detail to life. The terminology itself often evokes a sense of artistry: lining, flaming, a more stylized, flame-like pinstripe design, scrollwork. These terms speak to a language of visual expression that transcended mere decoration. The economic realities of the time also dictated the accessibility of this art. For the average car buyer, elaborate pinstriping might have been an unaffordable luxury. However, simpler, single-line accents or subtle color separations were more widely adopted, bringing a touch of artistry to a broader range of vehicles. The advent of advanced automotive finishes and painting techniques in the latter half of the 20th century, such as more robust clear coats and sophisticated multi-stage paint systems, gradually led to a decline in traditional hand-painted pinstriping as a factory-applied option. Automated stenciling and decal application became more efficient and cost-effective for mass production. However, the appreciation for the authentic, handcrafted pinstripe never entirely disappeared. In the world of classic car restoration, custom builds, and hot rod culture, the art of hand-painted pinstriping has experienced a significant revival. Dedicated artists continue to hone their skills, preserving this intricate and beautiful tradition for a new generation of automotive enthusiasts. These contemporary pinstripers often draw inspiration from the masters of the past, studying historical examples and techniques to replicate the artistry of a bygone era. The tools themselves have evolved, with modern materials and synthetic brushes offering new possibilities, but the fundamental principles remain the same: patience, precision, and an intimate understanding of paint and surface. The demand for truly unique and personalized vehicles ensures that this meticulous art form will continue to thrive. The quiet dedication of the pinstriper, the steady hand, and the discerning eye continues to bring a touch of handcrafted elegance to the automotive world, a beautiful echo of early 20th century American manufacturing. The subtle gleam of a meticulously laid stripe, a whisper of color against the body of a car, is a lasting testament to an era where craftsmanship and artistry were an integral part of the automotive journey.